Happy birthday to Sirenicide. Happy birthday to Sirenicide. Happy birthday to a name that's gone through so many changes. Hey everybody. Thank you for joining me on this short trip into the word Sirenicide in celebration of its 13th birthday. 13 years. Now, the name Sirenicide means a lot to me. And I'm going to talk to you in the ICE format. No, this ain't going to be an ICE episode. ICE number 10 is a big one, and it's right around the corner. But Sirenicide, man, it has done so much for me. It's traveled a long way. So, let's talk about its journey, if you don't mind. So, Sirenicide started out as just a name buried amongst a bunch of wannabe death metal, black metal lyrics, scratched out by almost like a charcoal pencil. Yeah, I was really super creative back then. I had to write in charcoal pencil for my song lyrics to be awesome. But anyway, in my lyric book, and it was not the name of the song or anything like that. It was for a band that I was in, my first band. And that band didn't work out. We ended up going through a band divorce. I learned that very early on, what that feels like and how bad that sucks. And if you've been through one, you know what I'm talking about. So that happened in December of 2005. And so throughout last week of December and all through January of 2006 and the first few weeks of 2006 just wasn't feeling the vibe. Felt, I don't know, dead and lost where to go next. You know, what do I do? And I was in a prison picket. I was a correctional officer at the Pulaski unit on death row. Very bleak place. And that was my job. 12-hour shifts. 4 on, 4 off. Typically, we'd bring books in our little clear bags, sit down and read something, or watch another one of the lights flicker out on the console in front of us, since they were so far past the maintenance they should have received, when I was probably 6 or 7. Anyway, that particular night, February 13th, 2006, I took out a piece of paper. And not just any piece of paper. I think it was actually a prison roster for the pod I was in. And I started sketching out some lyrics. And that was the first time I tried writing lyrics in a while. And for some reason, the name Sirenicide just kept jumping out at me from that song that was never even remotely near completed. I don't even think I told the other guys in the band about it, in the old band. But here it was again, underlined in a song title format. And I just started penciling out lyrics underneath it that I really, really liked. And those lyrics in that song would eventually form, into a song that maybe, I guess if we garnered enough like Patreon support or something like that, I might release some of the rough cut demos of that from a while back. But more than anything, I realized I really liked the name enough that not just for a song, but I wouldn't mind naming my next band that, and starting a band from scratch, learning from the last one, the do's and the don'ts. And the biggest don't was, don't try to create a band in Livingston, Texas, way out in the woods, especially a metal band. You need to move to the city, kid. And I did. That was February 13th, 2006. And by the end of March, I was a resident in Houston, Texas. Sold like everything I owned to get there. Started out, and it was great. Finding all these new faces and putting together songs and acquiring recording equipment. And the name Sirenicide took me to a place I had never been. The stage. People watching you perform your art with your best friends playing instruments, Meeting new faces, playing in front of 2 people, 10 people, 20 people. Hell, 1,000 people. I think that was about as high as it got. But still, it was awesome. I got to take a name from a scrap of paper, form it into a band that eventually got me to share the stage with some of my idols, like Michael from Dark Tranquillity. We got to open for a band like the Misfits, things that I never dreamed were even possible a few years before, back when I was scribbling those lyrics out in that picket that night. February 13th, 2006. That's where it all started for Sirenicide. And here it is now, February 13th, 2019. 13 years later. And this show is an audio drama. And it's got an amazing crew behind it. Amazing fan base, cult following fan base, and an ever-expanding story. And I can't. Happy Birthday just doesn't do it. I just love what this name has done for me, my family, my friends, and took me out of a comfort zone I was trapped in and put me out to the world. Here I am. You're listening to my voice through a whole new medium that even the band couldn't reach through. Podcasting. This has been an amazing endeavor. These last few years, it's been so awesome. And I'm looking forward to what the future holds. That being said, unfortunately, the show is at a crossroads right now. It's our production quality is getting higher, and we're working harder on the stories and making them more engaging. But we want to hire more voice actors, better voice actors. Want to get a higher caliber equipment and things like that. And those things cost money. And what we're trying to do right now is build a listener-backed show. That's what I've been trying to do since the beginning, but we're really amped on it now. I tried a little bit of advertising in season 3. Wasn't super happy with the way it made me feel listening to the show on like some re-listens and things. It has nothing to do with the advertisers. They were friends. It's just the fact that I've tried, and I'm going to keep trying to make this a completely advertiser-free program. And in order to do that, I need your support. If we could just garner, 1/4, 1/8 of our listenership donated $1 a month, the stories, you would be so surprised what they're going to be able to do as far as just growth and overall quality and overall performance and those kind of things. And I get it. Not everybody, most people listening to this listen to 10 or 20 other podcasts, and I'm just one of them. And you can only put out so much of your funds towards things. But $1 towards Sirenicide through our Patreon would be amazing. We also have one-time donations or monthly donations through PayPal. Before you stop it thinking, oh, he's just asking for money. I'm putting that out there because I want to continue this. I want to keep my dream alive. I love this thing. And it'll always, be putting out content in some form or fashion through this feed. But I would love to make it more content and more weekly based and expand it into more live shows and comics and books and so many other things to do with these immaculate characters that we've created and that deserve so much more attention and detail and harnessing than they're getting. And of course, money does that. It's the root of our world. But if you can't help on a monetary basis, sharing the show, binging the show, and reviewing the show, reviewing it on any platform, Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, reviewing us on Facebook, any kind of like standardized review where you got to click the stars and type in some comments, please help us out. That goes a long way too. It gets us noticed and it gets us more fans. All of that aside, we have an amazing season 4. 2019 is going to be a huge year for Sirenicide. All of this is already in the pipeline, funds or not. This is going to be a giant season. We're going to go into more of that on ICE episode 10. I wanted to stay in the ICE format for this little thing, no jump cuts, trying to keep the mouth clicks to a minimum, and the breathing and the ams and the ums and the, all that kind of stuff. But I just wanted to tell you from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for listening to what we do and what we produce. I'm going to go ahead and throw a link to the 2013 official music video for Sirenicide's 4 Walls in the bottom if you want to click that YouTube link and kind of see some fun we had in the past during the first decade. And I'm ready to see what the next decade holds. We already got our feet in there. third of the way through it. And let's make the 14th year that much stronger. Like I said, all the links are in the bottom of the show if you want to donate. Again, $1 a month goes a long way. And reviewing the show goes a long way. All of this aside, we have an awesome mini episode coming out this month on the 26th. The return of a very loved character. And I hope you've been enjoying the mini episodes we have between season 3 and 4. Season 4 is going to be epic. And we'll have more on its release date and maybe a trailer coming its way. But until then, you can still expect your content every other Tuesday. I appreciate you guys bearing with us through the feed issues we had at the end of January. Hopefully that's reset well for all of you guys. If not, cybernicide@gmail.com if you have any questions, concerns, or comments. But until then, we love you guys, and we love you for letting us do this and listening to these stories we've crafted for you and this music that we've built for you over the years in the past as a metal band and even now as the score of our show. All the music is made in-house, except for, that Gardenia track on the Molly Needles episode. That's from the epic band Gardenia. Thank you so much again, Nicholas, for letting us use that. But until next time, well, I guess that'll be ice number 10. I'll talk to you then. Thanks a lot.